Jean-Claude Van Damme is underrated. That's right. I said it. You heard me correctly. Van Damme is underrated. I'm gonna take you back in time. It's 1992. It's right before the beginning of the Clinton era. Gulf War just ended. Started second grade. you know. TBS was still a regular TV channel that you could always depend on for meaningless temporary amusement, with them airing action films from the 80s late at night. And Jean-Claude Van Damme was a staple of this era, even though he was still at his peak at this time in terms of box office draw. They would still air his early 80s films on TBS. One of my all-time favorite action films in general, and one of my all-time favorite Van Damme movies, I think is probably the best thing he ever made, was Bloodsport, which was based on, depending on who you ask, a real-life story of Frank Dukes, who is... I'm not going to touch on that because I know I'm not going to talk about that. It's controversial. But I'm going to just say this. Van Damme is underrated. Now, as far as an actor goes, he never really worked on his acting abilities. He didn't have the range. He never really worked on his acting range. He does have the physical skills, however, to fight on screen and make it look good. You can't take that away from him. Okay? And he's a real life martial artist. He studied Shotokan karate. He earned a black belt. He became a middleweight champion in kickboxing. It's a real life bodybuilder. He always takes care of himself, stays in shape. But here's the thing. Van Damme doesn't suck. The movies he decides to take on suck horribly. The movies he decides to star in are horrible. He should have fired his agents back in the 80s. When 1990 rolled around, he should have fired all his agents. Now, Time Cop made a lot of money. I know. Time Cop made a lot of money. Black Eagle, I don't know. I guess I never saw that one. Kickboxer was alright. I didn't like the rest of the series though. They had fucking Cody from Step by Step in the last. Oh man, that was retarded. Let's see. Cyborg was pretty strange. Never saw Death Warrant. I really liked Lionheart because it was Lionheart. That whole movie was just an excuse to have fight scenes, which is what I liked about it. Double Impact was kind of weird. It's I guess it's a weird take on the Jackie Chan movie Twin Dragons when he played the twins. Universal Soldier was okay. He keeps doing science fiction for some reason. Another thing too is like they keep putting him in science fiction movies like that's going to guarantee something. It's not. Of course, Street Fighter, I've already reviewed that movie. It's a piece of shit. Then he has Sudden Death, Maximum Risk, and stuff like that. The Quest was probably the last decent film that I saw him in. After that, like, Double Team was alright, but it wasn't great. Legionnaire was garbage. Knockoff, I've never seen it. Universal Soldier, The Return was horrible. And then, after that one, he has never starred in a movie that was debuted in theaters after Universal Soldier: The Return. They pretty much said he's not screen worthy anymore, which is unfortunate. I honestly think he is much more talented than what the films he's chosen to play in have allowed him to display. I believe that wholeheartedly, but he decides to do these garbage films. And another thing too is he's not one of those people where you can just base a whole movie around this guy and every moment will be interesting. I mean, it's interesting when he starts kicking and punching people, but it's not interesting when you just leave the camera on him, and he's not. You need actors for him to play off of, sort of. You need him to build his range, because I feel like essentially he's been playing the same character, put in different types of unrealistic situations for the past 15 years, almost. I'm being honest. Okay? Now, they've often lumped him in a category next to guys like Chuck Norris and Steven Seagal. Let me tell y'all something. Chuck Norris is good. Alright? He's got the credibility. He's good enough to fight Bruce Lee in Way of the Dragon. Alright? Classic. He starred in Walker, Texas Ranger. You'd never think that that TV show would be a hit. And it was. Stayed on air for like 8-10 years. Steven Seagal, here's the thing too. Steven Seagal keeps getting work. They don't give Van Damme another chance, and they keep giving Steven Seagal more work. I never liked Steven Seagal. He's worse than Van Damme ever was. He's the same guy in every movie. The same black dye in his hair. He's the same guy. It's retarded. It's strange, and it makes no sense. It's just horrible. I just think Van Damme is highly underrated. He should have done better films. He should do better films, but they keep putting him in crap, and that's not fair. Yeah, I honestly think you can make a martial arts action film, or an action film that has some depth and some type of something that'd be memorable. But ever since the 90s came to a close, that pretty much closed the door on him. I don't know what he's gonna be doing next, but hopefully he'll get another shot at doing something that'll put him back in the forefront. And pretty much show everybody that he can do it. I guess maybe it's personality problems backstage or something. Heard he was a egomaniac, supposedly. He likes to snort coke and all this other stuff. He's been married like 5 times. Whatever. I guess he's got his own eccentricities going on and all this weird shit he does. But, that's okay. They call that being eccentric. And if they can call it that, maybe they can let it slide and give him another shot. I just think Van Damme is not getting a fair shake. If they're letting Steven Seagal get away with all kind of crap, why can't they let Van Damme do something awesome? That's all I got to say about that. Nothing too deep, nothing too fancy. I just had to get it off my chest and say it. Bye.